Greetings, everybody. This is Christopher Messina, broadcasting as ever from the beautiful beaches of the last free state in America, Florida. Although that's changing now. We'll see how that goes. Joining me from across the world by the magic of the interwebs is Oded Rahav, who is the founder of Dead Sea Guardians. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show, Oded. How are you?
Thank you so much for hosting me. I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. Thank you.
All things considered.
Yes.
There's a huge amount going on in Israel right now and in the world, but we're going to focus on something that kind of has long-term uh, implications and environmental impacts that arguably transcend politics in any way, shape, or form, or should transcend politics. And that is, many people may not know, but the Dead Sea has been shrinking rapidly for quite a long time now. Maybe you could just jump in and tell us a little bit about the history of why the Dead Sea is shrinking, and maybe we can go from there.
Okay, fantastic. So thank you, Christopher. So the Dead Sea, we call it, by the way, the Salt Sea. The Dead Sea, the origin of that name came from the Greek. There's nothing dead about it. Although it's salty, 36% of salinity. There is no fish, flora and fauna there is in the surrounding. It's called dead because they used to use the tar that comes out for the sea to wrap the mummies or the ships. Okay, so that's why, the Egyptians are very much dead, and it helped them preserve it. As
So
I said,
is that the naphtha they used to use? Was that
they use that tar. It's a special tar that comes every now and then out of the water, and they use it. That was the Bitcoin way back in the old days.
Dead Sea tar was the original Bitcoin. That's fantastic.
Definitely. And another secret, I'll tell you another fun fact. You know, the word salary, which we assume that we all are looking once a month for that salary, the origin of the word salary is salt. Okay, so the Roman Empire used salt from the Dead Sea to as a salary. They gave a bag of salt for their soldiers, and that's where salarium, you're Italian, you're supposed to know that word. That's where the word salt came. The Dead Sea is minus 439 meters, so you do the calculation. Below sea level, it's the lowest place on the planet.
That's about 7 billion feet or something.
Yeah, or so. You have time to do the calculation. It's basically on the rift, all going from Mozambique, from the Indian Ocean, all the way to Turkey. We're just in the middle. It's considered the most interesting and important corridor of migrating birds from Africa and Europe and back. It's a healing place since it's the lowest place on the planet. So the highest percentage of oxygen, not the percentage, but the availability of oxygen, as opposed to the Himalaya. This is the place where every breath you take, like Sting sings, every breath you take is full of oxygen. The minerals in the air and the soil, all over you, and the water, obviously, highest percentage of minerals, lowest percentage of solar radiation, and there's peace and quiet. Okay, it's a place of healing. Now it's a basin. It's all the way from Lebanon, Jordan, Israel and Egypt. It all comes to the Dead Sea. For many years, it was a healing place, all the way back to King Solomon and Sheba. They had their speed date there, and all, the empires wanted something from this place. The Romans had Masada, if you've been to this place. They all had a post here. It was important. They acknowledged the importance of this place. During the last 50 or so years, it's a lot of minerals there. So the state of Israel and the state of Jordan decided to extract minerals, and in doing so, they harm the sea because they do it in a very obsolete way. It's extremely hot there. I don't know if you've been there, but it's in the summer, it's boiling hot. You take the water from the one side, you extract it, you evaporate it, and lo and behold, you have a lot of salt and all the minerals that comes with it. Back in the old days, no one thought about environmental issue. Nobody thought, it won't break. It's okay. You can evaporate and evaporate and evaporate and evaporate.
Keep going. We can't impact it.
Keep digging. Keep digging and something will happen. We have the Almighty, he'll take care of it. But it doesn't work like this, especially out in the Middle East. Now, the main source of water is the Jordan River, the holy, mighty Jordan River that goes all the way from the Sea of Galilee is the main source of water, but it was dammed. In the 60s, they put a dam for way back then for legitimate reasons. We need water. We're, this kind of near to the desert here. You need water for drinking, for irrigation. So they dammed it. They dammed the Jordan River and all the tributaries on the Jordanian, Lebanese, Syrian side. By the way, they still do it. But now, for the last 25 years, we have technology. Israel is desalinating 90% of its water. So 90% of our drinking water is desalinated from the Mediterranean. So we have technology on our side. So my goal is to say, hey guys, we have technology on our side. Let's give back to nature. We're not doing a favor to the nature. This is the equation. Okay, this is the contract we have with Mother Earth. It's not something naive. We need nature. We are part of it. We are nature. We're just another organism here.
So, not to interrupt, but quickly say, I work in mining. That's what I do. And so, one of the things that struck me as I read a bit about what you're working on, and saw a bit of the trailer for the documentary, is that mining process, which is basically passive evaporation, doesn't have to be that way. Like that same mineral extraction can happen with water reclamation out of that process, which you can dump right back into the sea. There will be some loss, but not 100%. And so that just seems to me to be the first step of stopping the loss is changing the way the mining is done.
Thank you so much, Christopher. You should be nominated here in the parliament because you understand it, whereas people here don't. I'm serious. They don't understand it. In every place that you have a mine, there's a period where you shut the mine. You understand that you've extracted, this and that, and now you shut it completely, and you let the nature redo it. You appreciate that, whatever you take, and then you stop it. Here, there's no kind of an ending point, and as I said, the technology is extremely obsolete. Like they take and take and take. And no one has encouraged them or gave them incentives to do it elsewhere. They said,
there are potash mines all over the world. Why do we need to destroy the Dead Sea? I've got more potash in Canada than is ever going to come out of the Dead Sea. Why bother?
Wow. Whew. Wow, you're knowledgeable. Okay, what you said now is extremely important because the Canadians are part of this deal. So I don't understand, I wish we could delve into it and understand why on earth are we moving potash from here to there. You have to track, you follow the money, basically. You have to understand. And it's always about the money. Now, not that I'm not in the blame game. I'm looking for a solution, okay? Whatever money they make, they'll take it to the other life or to the next life. Enjoy. Mm-hmm. I don't care. I'm in charge of making this piece of land, this sea, thrive. I understand the equation. I know that once this sea and the surrounding will thrive, it will bring prosperity. And this region needs prosperity. This region needs some sort of, and this prosperity will bring stability. This region, as we know, needs stability. When things go wrong here, everyone suffers on the planet. That's also an interesting topic we should delve into. When things go wrong here in Israel and the surrounding, everyone is talking about it. But a few miles from here, when things go wrong, nobody knows about it. Nobody knows. Here, something happens. So I will take it, from the positive side. We're probably an interesting community, and people have a lot of time watching television to understand what's going on, and most of them don't understand. They just pick side. They haven't got a clue. They will not go, not 100 years back or 2,000 years back. But I'm looking for a solution as we started our conversation. I want a solution once and for all. I almost cursed in the middle, but I stopped as you saw. So once and for All?
We don't have a very sensitive listenership, but it's okay.
Okay. Okay. So once and for all, I'm seeking for peace and quiet that will come from this region, that people will read and hear about interesting stuff coming from this land. This is the promised land. There is interesting people all around us. All these communities, it goes all the way back to the biblical era. They're good people here. They're good. What we see is the bad, but they're good people here with good intentions. And water could be this kind of glue and a topic that will bring people to a conversation. We can build trust. All faiths use water as a mean to this kind of ceremony, to this understanding of here we are for a very short period of time. Let's enjoy. We're just guests here. Let's enjoy. Let's stop quarreling. And water could be this kind of a vehicle, kind of a conversation that could ease our pain, that could bring us prosperity, tourism, pilgrimage, agriculture, whatever, sports, arts. It's a fantastic place here. I've traveled the world. Honestly, I traveled the world. There is no place like this. I love it dearly. I have a conversation with the water of the Dead Sea. I understand it. And it needs us, humans, to save it, because all waters from all over are connected. The water in the Dead Sea are connected to the Cuyahoga River in Ohio, or the Colorado River, or the Yangtze, or the Mississippi, or the Ganges. They're all connected. There's 75% of water on this planet. There's 75% in us. Why? How come the exact number? It's interesting. So we're curious people. Let's understand it. How come? What's this equation? And what's our part in giving back, in saving? That's my thing.
It's an excellent motivator, right? It's there's so many seemingly, I was thinking as you were talking that when there are, I think in an American context or others, like in urban environments that are stressed, there's a lot more violence constantly. I've never heard of a random fight breaking out at the beach or in a pool. Right? When you're swimming around, people don't suddenly get the urge to start beating up on each other. Small point, probably not incredibly important, but pretty much right. Well, what are the main things that you're pushing for, right? Because as we discussed before we started, I'm never a fan when employees or students, when someone brings me a problem, the first thing I say to them is, I don't want to hear about it unless you've given thought to a solution, right?
Right.
Obviously for big stuff, like you find out the CFO is stealing, come tell me. But if you just got a process you think isn't working well, or something that you think is broken, it's great. But if you just tell me that there's a problem, well, you've added to my list of things to do, and I'm already busy. So at least give some thought. So you clearly have, and you and your team, I read a bit, have, first off, when did Dead Sea Guardians, when was it created? And what are the main things you're focusing on that would actually stop the loss of water, and then, in fact, net reverse that, so that the obvious solution is to add water to the Dead Sea. And since there is this massive amount of desalination that already occurs, now we've looked at this here in the States too, not just in that context, but like Canada, which Donald Trump wants to make a state, but that's another problem for another day. Canada is chock full of water. Right?
Wow.
And the eastern part of the U.S. is chock full of water. And in the Southwest, it's incredibly dry.
Right.
So, they're not the first people to think of, well, we could pump desalinated water from the Pacific Ocean into the Southwest, and parts of that could be greened if you want. It's different from what they're doing in the Sahara and the Sahel, where they're trying to push back and create a green wall to push back against desertification.
Right.
So what are the main things you're focusing on to solve that problem there? Because I would say, kind of echoing what you said, both the negative and the positive things that happen in Israel tend to echo. So if you solve this problem and kind of rejuvenate the Dead Sea, I'm betting the solutions and technologies that go into doing that are applicable in other parts of the world that have suffered from desertification.
Bravo.
Sicily in the time of the Romans was a forested land. It
Right.
was a breadbasket of the Roman Empire, and that's where they got all the ships for the Romans to fight the Phoenicians. But now it's all gone.
Right.
So Sicily could be reforested using similar ideas.
Totally. It's about us. We humans, we didn't read the manual, and we obviously kind of, took all the time and abused. And now it's not a bit too, late, but it can be reversed, but we can fix. As you said wisely, we have to fix. It comes from the Bible. It says that if you believe you broke it, believe you can fix it. So I believe we can fix it because I know that we broke it. Now it's about us and paying attention and be humble and understanding, first of all, water. We can't live without water even one day. Okay, so we should acknowledge it. We cannot take water for granted because there is scarcity of water around the world and people do not understand it. And we might reach a point that even technology can't help us. And we will pay. We're already paying a price, but some of us don't understand that we're paying a price. Violence is a very high toll that most of the violence in this region goes to the biblical era of water. Now, you said correctly, if we solve it, we will understand how to solve problems. Why? Because first and foremost, we will talk to one another. We will build trust. We will see in our eyes that we are the same, and therefore we can and should solve problems. And you will lose a lot less than what we lose now on a daily basis. And yes, and what you all see in television is only that. I'm agnostic to it because although we paid a high price this dreadful year, and it was a dreadful year, it is still kind of a struggling year to say to say the least. But as you said, we're looking for solution, and these solution will teach us to focus on solutions rather than problems. And once we focus on solutions, even in our private life, when you focus on solution, you don't pay so much attention and energy on the problem, because you focus on rebuilding yourself, restructuring yourself. You focus on hope. Okay, I've established this organization on 2022 with the understanding that I have built a machine that creates hope. And this hope, lo and behold, comes through water. The solution for the Dead Sea, or as we call it in Hebrew, Yam HaMelach, the salty sea, because 2 days ago, I had guest Buddhists, and they say, why the fuck do you call it? Sorry for my French, but they said,
those Buddhists, they're a terrible language.
And they're Buddhist, and they say, you're from Korea, why the fuck do you say Dead Sea? It's alive. You call it Yam HaMelach, like in the Hebrew. The Israelites call it Yam HaMelach, the salt sea. Right. So it's losing water because no fresh water is coming in, as I told you. On the one hand, that's 60% of the loss. The other 40 is the extraction, of the minerals down south. What we need to do is the state of Israel and the state of Jordan, whether jointly or each and every one of them, say, guys, enough. We have this pristine, interesting, out of this world, one of the wonders of the planet, and we're losing it. And if we lose it, we will lose tourism and pilgrimages and health and so much more. Yeah, we will pay the highest toll.
It's similar, the Caspian Sea and the Black Sea. And
there you have it.
The same problem.
The same
issue.
Christopher, you mentioned something very important because it is exactly the same. Lake Chad, the Caspian, the Aral Sea, wherever you go, it's unbelievable. It's copy, paste, the same stupidity, same kind of misunderstanding nature, the same suffering. Okay, when people suffer, they have disease, they have death toll, and they migrate. And they will migrate from these places into Europe or to Canada or to the States. And all of a sudden you have another issue. You have people from nowhere coming to your place And I'm providing you a solution. By the way, I've presented it both to the Biden administration, now to the Trump administration. I told them strategically, you need this place to thrive. I don't want to move to another place, but if I don't have water and if I don't have food, I will move. I will go to Berlin. I will go to London. I will go to Washington, D.C. I will build a tent there. And now it's you to help me. We should strategically make it good here. Then people won't move. They won't, no immigration issues will be there. Because when people are okay with their families and community,
that alone is a winning formula in the Trump administration. Wasn't so much the Biden administration, not deep thinkers.
I agree with you. Also, you create jobs. Once you create jobs here, you have a prosperous community. And then most of the issues like war won't happen because people will tend to focus on their business, on their family, on their livelihood. They won't buy an AK or even receive one as a gift and join a bloody kind of, organization, because there they pay you because you don't have agriculture. And this is a story. This is reality, not a story.
Yeah.
People in Jordan, they receive an AK plus $400, and that's their salary for that day. Wow. So why grow tomatoes if you have an AK and $400 a day? That's a different kind of story. So that has to come from a strategic standpoint. The idea is to push the governments to come up with a statement. Hey, we want to save this place. We will invest. We will bring partners. And here's the idea. That's where when I went to the state, I said, you can incentivize companies from the US coming here and providing solutions, and they will be, have tax deduction or whatever in the US, and you will create this kind of a spiral where win-win for everyone. You have jobs, we have water, they are happy, they don't want to go to war. Lo and behold, all of a sudden, Haven.
Yeah, no, that is a spot-on idea. The funny part of the reason I wrote my book about the federal budget is that I've worked with I've always been in the private sector, but have interfaced with government. And the main headache is, changing government policy, and especially in the U.S., which is a huge government bureaucracy, which we're trying to shrink. But even when we shrink it, it will still be big. Yeah. It's like steering and people say it's like steering an aircraft carrier in a bathtub, right? It's that makes all the sense in the world. You've heard about all critical minerals and rare earths and all that, right? The reason this is my party piece to global politics. The reason Donald Trump offered to buy Greenland in the first place in July of 2019 was because of the mine that I was the CEO of in South Greenland. So we've got this rare earth mine, massive deposit. I'm in the White House with my partner, the founder of the company, explaining in early July of 2019 to the Trump administration, National Security Council, Department of Defense, all of the happy, self-important people in Washington. And 4 days later, Trump offered to buy Greenland because of the value of this mine. So that's my contribution to world politics. You're welcome. The Greenland is not very happy now because he's still focused on this insanity. The important point is 4 administrations all talk about critical minerals, and it's important, and we got to do this. And I wasn't alone, but I know that I provided a complete package solution for all the rare earths that the U.S. military would ever need, and they couldn't come up with a single penny. Not a nickel out of the U.S. federal government, while they're wasting billions on nonsense, right? So part of my mission in this world is to help right-size that. And the book I wrote inspired Elon Musk to create Doge, so I feel good about that. But it's still got to change. What you're saying makes all the sense in the world. And I will do what I can to help you push that message within this administration and push that message with investors. The other major problem that you're encountering, whether you know it or not, because my background is in the global capital markets, so I spend decades talking with investors, both allocating money and raising money for projects. Somewhere along the line after 1950, American investors became complete candy ass pussies. That's the phrase I'm going to use. That's the nicest phrase I can use, because they see a problem, and classical economics will tell you, you're right, Oded's got a brilliant idea. Anything that pours water back into the Dead Sea, modernizes evapotranspiration mining, and creates bounty should be something you invest in. But it's not. They all want to invest in the next food delivery app that in 18 months will be sold to Amazon or DoorDash. That's what they want to do. And I tell people constantly, who are like, but I've got this great idea and this great asset, this great company. So that's wonderful. Every investor, whether they know it or not anymore, and it's a large, complicated feedback loop.
Yeah.
Every investor now, institutional, professional investors, so-called, they all want to have the returns associated with being a seed round investor in Google, but they want that with Treasury bill 10-day risk. Doesn't exist. They all want to hear it's guaranteed, it's wonderful, it's perfect, but I want to make 700% a year. I don't know who's in charge of the MBA schools who are telling them that deal exists. It doesn't exist. Now, you could make 700% by risking your money investing in something relating to the Salty Sea Tourism Bureau plus mining, but they don't want to do that. And so it's not that it's impossible. It's just what we've discovered, those of us who are building towards a more secure future, is ironically that great engine of capitalism that created prosperity in some ways has ground to a halt. So a good example of this is, rare earths. Every administration talks about rare earths. Most people have no idea what they are, but that you can't have this phone. We couldn't be having this conversation without the rare earths that are embedded in computer systems and networks, right? So every administration, Obama, Biden, Trump, whoever the other guy, Trump, all of them talk about how critical this is, right? When presented with an opportunity, and they hate the Chinese. They hate the Chinese communists. So I offer them literally the solution of the biggest rare earth deposit in Greenland, far away from Chinese geopolitical influence. Not a nickel's forthcoming, not a penny, right? And here's why. Biden administration finally wants to do something about rare earths. So they donate $60 million of the U.S. taxpayer money. That's not a lot of money for this. I need $300 million to build my mine. They give $60 million to a battery factory in the U.S., co-owned by two companies, which each, there's no problem raising money. The battery factory is going to be $500 million to build, but the Biden bureaucrats give $60 million to a project that doesn't need it. Because the only risk that a bureaucrat manages is his personal career risk. So if he writes a $60 million check into my mine and something goes wrong, he's on the cover of the Washington Post as wasting the taxpayer money.
Oh, my God.
Versus he really actually just did waste the taxpayer money by giving it to a project that didn't need it. They might as well have given a nickel. It didn't matter to the success of the project.
Wow.
And that is part of what I say that on my podcast. I write about it. I convey it to you because part of the human problem that you are looking to solve, which you now know better, is the human hurdles to doing what we think is obvious, right? Back in 1938, 37, when American industrialists were told, Nazis are awful, we're going to war, they opened their checkbooks and they started creating tanks. They didn't argue. They didn't debate it. They didn't go to an investment committee. They didn't think about it. It was existential to Western civilization that we win this war. And they just did it. And the people that wrote those checks, their families are now insanely rich today. But you try to get that same thing done now, you'll go to 100 investor meetings. Like, well, we can invest in this food delivery app. So I don't know if that's helpful to you as you think about fundraising, convincing people how it works. But oddly, you've got a brilliant mission and a brilliant economic opportunity.
Totally.
And I'm sure you're getting lots and lots of pushback because it's a lot easier not to do that. And they love the idea, and they love someone else to do it.
Exactly. So they love the idea, they love me, but there's a but. And I'm sick and tired of this. I'm actually sick and tired of being sick and tired. Because the but thing is, and I think Seinfeld said that people, they're the worst. And so people, there's an issue here because, and I say this humbly and with all due respect, yeah, there's this but, and I have to convince them sometimes, take by hand, go to the Dead Sea and see it for themselves, because it's, it's a remote place, and they say, but the return on the investment, blah, blah, blah. But once people come here, and this I can tell you, from a personal level, whomever I've taken to the sea had a life-changing experience, because all of a sudden, Christopher, all of a sudden you understand. I've been to the baptizing site. I go there twice. I lived 2 hours from the baptizing site, the place where Jesus was baptized, where Elijah went to the sky, where Israelites crossed the water. And I take people there, and it's in the middle of nowhere. It's near Jericho, the oldest city on the planet. You go there, you drive through the desert all the way to the Jordan River, and then you stand for a moment. There's peace and quiet, peace and quiet. And the desert wind, like, and they see it and they feel it with their, and all of a sudden they understand. All of a sudden you understand the story, as if your life, like in an instant, goes from birth all the way to the other side. You say, wow, okay, so now I get it. I want to be part of this legacy. I want to be part of the healing process. I can't believe there's even one single person on this planet that doesn't want to be, part of the healing process, whether himself, whether the family. I had an interesting, I'll send you this. I had an interesting team from Canada, from Montreal. They came to shoot a film about all these places around the world that are broken, as we mentioned before. About 13 different places.
Montreal.
Except Montreal.
Sorry.
All these places in Africa, Asia, that humans broke it. And the last journey was to the Dead Sea. And I told them, okay, and that was the last one. I said, listen, guys, I know the topic is about broken places, but I'm going to surprise you. This is not a broken place. This is where we will reignite. We will restart. And they said, well, we have like 2 hours. So the first thing I took their, watches, I said, this is a different time zone. There's no time here. You just come here and contemplate and stay. And they stayed, I think, something like 7 hours. And the host, he was this Canadian. They spoke in French also, kind of French. And he burst into kind of French. And I told them the story, and they stood on the sea, and then they floated in it. And I remember it clearly. The host was struggling how to float on the water. And I told him, listen, just calm down, have a conversation, just relax. You're a piece of nothing. Honestly, you think too much of yourself. You're a piece of nothing. Just float and let the water take care of you. And he had his back, and in his head, and he floated, and then he cried. Now the whole team cried. And he said, I've never, ever in my lifetime experienced such a thing. As if everything was here. My family was here. My ancestors were here. Everything was here. Now you could be a believer, you could be cynical, you could be whatever, but it grabbed them all. And they understood. There's places around this world that takes you, deep into yourself. And then you stop talking about return on investment and all that blah, blah, blah. Okay, you need a return. You will gain it. Because if you will come with your heart and soul and understand that you're here for a certain time, and it's for your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren, and you have a role here. You're part of a long chain. Okay, you're alive. How come you're alive? You were supposed to die thousands of times. Genghis Khan and Mao Zedong and all of them, they were supposed to kill you so many times. But yet, you're still alive. How come? What's the reason? How come you stayed alive? With all the earthquakes and all the atrocities and everything, you stayed alive. So, what do you do with it? What's your story? How you give back? You've taken enough. You won't take it to your next life. So we'll make it a business. We'll have a great bargain. 400%, okay? You'll be involved in tourism. You'll be involved in creating hope. I think it's far more interesting. And you'll meet fantastic people. You'll meet fantastic people. You know, last year I was nominated to the Explorers Club. It's the headquarters in New York. Yeah,
that's great.
Now I've been interviewed by the head of the Explorers Club, Richard Garrett. He's an astronaut, and I spoke to him and said, "You're an explorer. You know, we won't find many more kind of lands around this globe, but the Dead Sea, it needs a voice, and your voice is interesting, and the story is interesting, and you should be part of it." And these people are influentials. They understand the equation. They connect the dots. We all should connect dots. We should all, you know, people come now and again to Israel and give us advices. How to do the day after. I know how to. I'll do the coffee. We eat here hummus. I don't know if you know what hummus is.
Of course.
So we'll have hummus. I'll do the coffee. We'll all sit around the table. You'll take off your shoes because it's a biblical land, and we'll tell you a story about once upon a time in a faraway land. And you'll be part of the solution, as you mentioned, Christopher. Let's be part. Don't give us advices from afar. Have skin in the game. Join us. We'll have a good, you know, we'll have a good party. There's good music here. And we will start moving forward to a better future that we all deserve. We all deserve. You know, during the last year, I saw what's going on in the Ivy League. So much hatred. Whoa, guys, what's going on with you? Why? Who told you to hate? A child, when he was born, he's not born with hatred. Never. Someone taught us to hate. Why? So come here, have a glass of water, stop hating. That energy, put it into love, in compassion, in building, in tourism, in faith, in pilgrimage, in dancing, in film, in art, in whatever. We're all artists. We're all. Everyone here that walks along this planet is an artist. Bring your art. Be creative. Be curious. Be humble. Enjoy. We love you all. I have zero hate in my heart. Zero hate. I'm a son of Holocaust survivors. My mom told me, nonetheless, you will have zero hate in your heart. It's not worth it. It's a burden not worth taking. You will have love and happiness, and this you will transcend. And with this we will create. I have a you know, I call it a weapon of mass construction. Weapon of mass
like
construction. Yeah, enough of ruining everything. And you will make business, because if you will come with your heart and soul, you will thrive. No worries. If you're a good businessman, you will come here, you'll build a hotel, you'll do whatever. We will help you out. We'll make love. We will enjoy the ride. It's a short ride.
Short ride. And yeah, that's, you know, it's very funny about that is that for years I've always said to folks, you know, in general, you know, what life is about is you know, buy the ticket, take the ride. Someone already bought the ticket for you, so you might as well enjoy the ride. And you know, it's one thing I want to touch on. I love that. That is absolutely perfect. And I'm curious as to, first off, Mazel Tov and the ability to be free of hate. I can't even come close to approaching that yet. I've been watching these maniacs. You know, I've written for years about the Marxist march to the universities and institutions in America. And prior to October 7th, 2023, I was the guy that people kind of edged away from at parties because they sounded insane. And I was like, I don't know what you don't understand. They have been pushing, you know, Karl Marx was in a long line of self-hating Jews going back to Josephus, right, in the Roman
Right.
Empire. Um, and I don't know, did he have daddy issues? I don't know what Karl's problem was, but he was a horrible human being. He gambled recklessly. He borrowed money he didn't pay back. He was a parasite.
Totally.
Horrible man. Horrible man. And he wrote this, and sadly, as so many of us are, he was a voluminous writer and a kind of slightly off thinker. And so what he knew about economics, you could put into a soda can without taking the soda out. And what he knew about human nature was probably nothing. But he inspired a movement. He inspired a hate-filled movement whose primary goal is godlessness. That was his goal.
Wow.
And so all of the leftists marching on campuses today, all of basically the irrational left, as I see them, because they don't do anything constructive. You see it now. Elon Musk was their hero a year ago because electric vehicles were going to save the world of carbon. He was their hero and their god. And now they're attacking people who own Teslas, calling them fascists. I mean, they're insane people.
Insane.
But all this goes back to when people tell me ideas don't matter. I say nothing else but ideas matter, because George Gilder wrote this beautiful book called The Israel Test, and he put it pretty well. But the reason all of these neo-Marxists who don't even know that they are neo-Marxists hate Israel and hate Jews is because Judaism is the origin of the idea of personal, individual responsibility. If not me, who? If not now, when? And they are all focused on group identity, here in the U.S. especially. It's all about groups. So you get the insanity of gays for Hamas.
Unbelievable.
You can't make it up.
Unbelievable.
Insanity. But that despair
Absurd.
And that hatred is it is all consuming. I went to the University of Chicago. My kids, God bless, are, very, very hardworking, very intelligent. There's not a chance on earth I would have let them gone to a Jew-hating propaganda factory like the Ivy League. Not a chance. Not a chance in hell at all. And
that was invested. They invested much in hatred, and they were blind to it. They just managed to manage their minds. It was invested. You're looking for ROI? They had a fantastic ROI there.
Phenomenal ROI. And the left in America, this is what I love is when people tell me, well, the product of 60 years of leftist indoctrination in America is that, and this is, it's happened in Europe, US. First off, these kids are chanting from the river to the sea. When they're asked what river, what sea, they don't know. They have no idea. First off. Second off, the same idiot will tell me that while the Palestinians filmed themselves committing atrocities, right? They filmed it. They did it. They took credit. They didn't really happen. Or if it did happen, the Israelis actually really did it.
This is unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. They won't even give them credit for what they claim credit for, right? So all that madness and evil, the solution, it's very hard, right? But you are right. The solution is not more hatred, because then we'll all die. There's a certain degree to which you do need to mobilize to fight a war and win, because standing in front of them peacefully like Gandhi will just get you killed. So, but then once that's over, and let's make it over for good this time, God willing, right?
Totally.
This idea of pushing the positive constantly is the only thing that can work. What I wanted to touch on is part of your background, which I think is very important for people to understand, is you do like really, really cool long distance swims. Right?
Indeed so. Yeah.
How did you get into that, and how do you think that kind of interacts with your view of the world?
Fantastic, Christopher. Thank you for mentioning it. Yes. So I would I'm kind of what you would call an activist, though I don't like this world. I'm an active person, as I mentioned. I see things broken. I say, okay, so how can I take responsibility? How can I not wait for someone that will fix it? When something is broken, I go and fix it. When you see something on the street, a piece of something or dirt or whatever, you pick it up. Don't wait for someone else to pick it up. Just do it. And you know what happens? Because I've been doing it for more than 40 years, and I'm 58 now. So once you pick it, people see, and then they'll pick it too. Okay? I don't want to educate people. I want to show an example. Our duty is to take responsibility. And people say, well, it's not so bad. I'll pick it. I'll throw it to the bin. I'll take part because we are guests in this hotel. So this is our house. Clean up, guys. Wake up and clean up. And you know what? You will enjoy. Wake up, see the sunrise, and enjoy and appreciate. And so long time ago, I've heard, I did martial arts for many years, I think from the age of 6 or so. And when I was 34, at last I tore my hamstring, and the doctor said, listen, you have to rest. It's about time you rest. And I said, Doc, I'm not into this resting. I have my second life. I promise you I'll rest. But now I need to do something. So he said, you know what? Go and swim. So I swam a little bit for 5 minutes, and I said, ooh, that's nice, this water thing. And I swam, and eventually we had a team of 6 of us. We called it Swimmers for a Cause. We swam from Cyprus to Israel. It's a 6-day. We hold the world record for the longest relay swim. It's a 6-day and night swim. And we did so because we saw a lot of plastic in the sea while training. And I said, how can I take responsibility and tell the story of that plastic which does not belong in our ocean? How could I make a change? So I'll swim. I'll take that risk. I'll swim. I'll tell you that story because I swam in the middle of nowhere at 3 o'clock in the morning to see it with my eyes, to feel this creation, to gaze at the stars and say, wow, what is this place? All for me. I'm the only person now in the middle of nowhere, gazing at these stars and appreciating the water. I wish all of us, I don't know if you don't try it at home, but if you can, swim somewhere far, far away from the shore. And, even a mile, I recommend to people, swim a mile into the sea and then swim back with longing, with appreciation, with the understanding, that soon my feet will touch the sand and I'm back. Feel it, and then you'll be appreciative of all these, things that are happening around us. And once I understood the equation of, yes, nice men with Speedo, that's sexy, and people pay attention. Instead of rioting and shouting and petitions, no, swim. Go swim, make a story.
Everyone is throwing rocks and chuck them in the ocean a mile offshore and let them swim back.
Exactly. Some may get lost. Never mind. It's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And pick up a gun, you're likely going to get shot anyway.
I think Lenin said so. I think that, Stalin said. He said, people, it's a problem. And so he did something with it. He took responsibility and he chucked them away. But I'm not referring to this. I say if you have a problem, make something nice, whether it's sport or art, and move the needle. Like you would like to move the needle. Whatever you do, like you do this podcast. You take responsibility. You share stories. Now people are knowledgeable. Now they said, wow, I'm so happy I listened to Christopher because I didn't know. I'm so sorry. I wasn't knowledgeable. I didn't know about the Dead Sea, about the salary, the evaporation. I didn't know nothing about Israel. I mean, this is a neighborhood the size of New Jersey. Come on, guys. You're paying too much attention for Israel. Go do something else. So we did that swim.
Do you know the joke about New Jersey and all the garbage dumps?
No.
New Jersey has all these toxic waste dumps, and New York has all the lawyers. Why is that? Because New Jersey won the coin toss.
Oh, fantastic. So back to the swims. I swam from
that swim from Cyprus to Israel. That
You have a
wasn't going to
boat.
take you 6 hours, right? You got out of the water and rested.
It took us 6 days.
6 days.
6 days, a whole week, day, night. You swim constantly, day, night, day, night, day, night, day, night. A week goes by. After the second days, you lose any kind of an understanding. Where the hell am I? You feel like, Jonah on the like you don't understand where you are because you're constantly awake, but you are constantly focusing. You keep your eyes on the prize. You want to reach the shores of Israel and to tell the story. Hey guys, we have to clean our oceans, period. There's no one out there to clean it for us. So grab that piece of plastic, put it in the bin, or don't take it in the first place. Be responsible, be appreciative, use less, and don't dump it wherever you can. Just be responsible. So we took these swims, I swam from San Diego to Tijuana to Mexico. That's an interesting swim. Yeah.
How many sharks did you get to punch on the way?
So here's the thing. I remember the night before we swam, we were approached by the Coast Guard, and they told me, listen, guys, you can't swim tomorrow because there's sharks and the sea is contaminated because of the river, the Tijuana River from Mexico. So I told them, listen, I'm from Israel. I have no issue, no problem with swimming in the sewage. I'm pretty much familiar. We do it here as well. And as for the sharks, we won't bite them. We won't touch them. We're okay with the sharks.
We promise we'll be nice.
So he said to me, you're a lunatic and go do your thing. And it was fantastic because it was the first time ever someone swam with no passports. All my swims are without passports. I'm a fish. We swim from one side to another to tell a story, to say, listen, guys, we heard about you. We heard about your issue. We want to help. We want to raise funds. We want to bring media. We want to bring celebrities that will be part of the solution. We are fed up of just hearing the problems around the world. We want to be the messengers. By the way, we were 12. So the messengers, the apostles, the tribes, whatever, extremely symbolic. We want to be the part that tells you everything is all right. We heard about you. No drama. We will help you out. Now, it's not that I have the funds. I only have the intentions and the love and the capacity to swim. I wasn't born a fish. I wasn't born a swimmer. I trained myself. And when you do it with all your love and with all your might, everyone comes and help you. Because I won't take the Dead Sea to my next life. I want it to be here. I want it to thrive. I want all of us to enjoy. I want your kids to come here and your grandchildren to float here and enjoy and understand the moment and feel the moment. Seldom do we feel the moment. We always have plans. But, there's a saying in Yiddish, a Mensch tracht und Gott lacht. A man makes plans and God laughs. So we make plans, but there's a script. And so we have to enjoy each and every second. And swimming, I found swimming as an interesting or fascinating means to an end, like a way to convey a message without shouting and without, bargaining and without writing another petition that doesn't reach anywhere. No, bring them. Let's swim and bring member of parliament. This is what we did. Bring other stakeholders to be by the shore, to wave, to feel that moment and to be part of. And then you go out and you shake hands and say, okay, so now you understand we have an issue. I will help you. You will help me. We will clean the beach. He said, we have a deal. And that year we had a law in Israel. So now you pay for the plastic bag. So there you have. You have a solution. People pay for the plastic bag. So they have responsibility. They have, in a way, skin in the game.
So that's fantastic, and especially what I love about swimming, because I grew up near the ocean and we live on the beach now, is that it's so perfect. Because if you try to fight the power of the ocean, you'll die, right? When I tell our kids early, like even if you're caught in a rip current, relax. It's just moving.
Wow.
Like you're gonna go out, and eventually it's gonna calm down, and you will come back, right? And
What a lesson!
If you're trying to fight the energy moving through the ocean, you can't fight that. But if you just relax, right, you just go up and down. The waves may be huge, but If you
Fantastic.
fight that, you're gonna panic. You're gonna inhale water. You might drown. But as
What a
long as you
lesson.
just relax, probably fine. We have tons of sharks here up and down the Florida coast. The only governmental statistic I don't believe is Florida issues. Or everyone talks about the number of shark bites there are per year. Now, a
Yeah.
massive income for Florida is tourism, right? I could say with 1,000% assurance, the shark bite statistics that Florida gives out are a complete and utter lie. Because they will say, there were like 85 shark bites or something.
Why do
Whatever the
they do
number
it?
is.
Why do they do it? I don't
Because
understand.
I
Why?
feel scare people because we know like right now there are more kids in my surfers and kids in my kids' schools that I know have been bitten last year. And those number of kids outnumber the entire statewide statistics. So I know they're lying. They're lying. And a buddy of mine, he's a pilot. He helps do
Survey.
migration surveys. So he'll
Mm.
fly over, and you've seen all these pictures, right, where the people are swimming in the ocean, and like 50 yards away, there are a million sharks. Right?
Right.
Predominantly, they don't like to eat people. Right? Usually, you get
They
bitten because
don't.
it's an
We're not. Here's the thing, Christopher. We're not that tasty as we think we are.
at
And
all because we eat all sorts of crap. They don't
no, exactly. They will
yeah,
spit us like they
yeah,
create puke. Now,
yeah.
we
Would
had a
you, would
swim.
you eat
It
a
was
cat
called.
fed on Doritos?
Mm,
No, it's disgusting.
it's ridiculous. We had a swim. It was called the Great Shark Swim. We did it in South Africa, in Durban. It was to save sharks. There's 170 million sharks hunted annually,
Yeah.
mainly China, Korea, Japan, and so on. They sell it and they come to
They
South
chuck them in
Africa.
the shark fins. It's awful what they do. They
Yeah,
bring the sharks up,
just for
they
that.
cut the fins off and chuck them back. It's evil. It's
Evil.
horrifying what they do.
Evil. That's the word. So we decided to
Crazy.
swim. We swam over there, and that was the most complicated swim we did. We went 30 miles into the ocean with rib boats, and then we wanted to swim like around 80 miles along the shores just to protest and save these sharks. While doing so, there were two bull sharks around our way. It's considered the most, dense population of sharks, the big ones.
Yeah.
Now,
And
I'm
bull
here to
sharks are
talk
very
to you.
aggressive.
Now, here's the thing. I'm here. I swam. I saw
You did.
two bull sharks near it, and still that was 2017. And here I am talking to you. So we're not that tasty, and we should appreciate sharks. They're, the iRobot or the Dyson of the oceans. We need them. We need them. But it's all about education. Whatever we spoke in the last hour or so, it's all about educating people and understanding our place, our role, our responsibility, our rights, but moreover, our responsibility. What is our part here? We have to work here. We have to keep it tidy and make sure it's more tidy than we got it.
You know what? That's a perfect place to close. Oded, thank you so much. A couple of things coming out of this. Thank you so much for the work you're doing. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk about it. I can promise you, as next steps, first off, we'll be broadcasting this. And for all you out there who know me and are in the investment community, I'm coming to talk to you about projects around the Dead Sea. So
That would be
pay
fantastic. And
attention because I'm going to pester the hell out of you because this is something that is incredibly important that will yield huge returns. We'll figure out how.
Yeah.
But this is not something that can be left to chance. And as Dennis so rightly put it up, in large measure, those of us who are in the global capital markets who see things like this is the equivalent of finding something on the pavement and picking it up. So
I
we're
love
going
it.
to do our best.
Have I given you my website? You're more than welcome to log into the deadseaguardians.org. We're always looking for new partners, donors, supporters, whomever you are. We love you and we wait for you and we need you.
We'll put all those links below. And I can't wait myself to come visit.
You're my guest. You're
awesome.
my guest of honor.
I'm very excited to do that. We're making our plans right now for the summer. So we'll figure that out. Thank you. This is great. I so greatly appreciate it. And
Thank
for
you.
everyone else, I'll put the links below, and you can. I urge you to jump in and without even thinking about it, get involved, make a donation, take an action, do something, be positive, build something rather than
Mm,
criticizing.
fantastic. Thank you so much, Christopher. Thank you so
Thank
much. I
you.
appreciate it. Take care. Bye bye.